Friday, everybody. Someone asked if oh, let's see. Oh yeah, one of the comments in the previous video, one of the previous videos was that, where do I work, NORAD? Hey man, this is how it is. The way buildings are designed, they're made so that they can maximize volume, because the footprint of real estate is so expensive that they have to build up or dig down. And the current state of Hawaii laws doesn't permit a building to exceed, I think it was a certain height, 31 floors. And that's just some city rule, or some rule that they put up in Hawaii. I don't know how old that rule is, but the deal with that rule is that the infrastructure does not handle so much density. Infrastructure such as plumbing, sewage, things of that matter, electricity. And so the result of that is a limitation on height of buildings. Now there's some interesting stories to that, because back in a day, about a couple hundred years ago, back in the 1800s, they decided, well, when Hawaii was a plantation economy where they grew pineapples and sugar canes and all that stuff, and coffee, believe it or not, way back when, there was, they had laid down piping, sewage. And the interesting thing about that is they had put a certain diameter of piping that you can only have so much flow through a certain diameter. When you have more flow, you just can't speed it up. You have to increase the diameter. That was the first infrastructure problem. And two, the thickness of the metal piping, the wall thickness, had to be a certain thickness, it's designed for corrosion. So these metal pipes that were about an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches thick, were put in place throughout the city. And the corrosion rate on the metal pipes are about, the pipes were designed to last 150 years, or something like 100 years. And when they had put in the pipes, the sewage and the plumbing, they figured, well, 100 years, that's a good amount of time. We'll just replace it as it breaks, because it's going to be too expensive to change it all, or there's just not enough material. It's just going to be too expensive to move all that material, ship it over, because Hawaii has no metals, and so they had to ship all their metals from abroad, from Europe, the US, or wherever, and they had to ship it to the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So they kept the pipes design at about 100 years at a certain diameter, and it worked with like a large margin. They had a lot of growth capacity, but they never thought that here we are, 150, 175 years later, the pipes are still in use. A lot of them break and corrode due to just due to corrosion, natural corrosion. There's a corrosion rate for steel, and it corrodes something like, I don't know, so many inches per decade or something, whatever. I don't know what the corrosion rate is, but it's, there's people that specialize in that stuff here in Hawaii, just specifically on that topic. And my former university professor was one of them. He's one of the foremost authorities on it. Now, So that's pretty much the big deal. And how it relates to motorcycling here in Hawaii is that there's just so much piping laid down throughout the whole city. It's too expensive to just change them all out. You have to break up the roads and take them out. And what they do is they decided, you know what, we're not gonna mess with that. When the pipes break, then we'll just tear up the ground and replace them. So here in Hawaii, in the city, man, you've got a lot of really crappy roads just because of that issue. And you know, I mean, why repave the road when, you know, in the next 10 years it's gonna break. If you have a brand new road and you have a pipe right underneath a main line, and in 10 years time the road breaks, I mean the pipe breaks, you're gonna have to pretty much rip up the whole road just to replace the pipe. And you typically try to replace as much pipe as you can, and hope that further down the line the pipe of the same age doesn't break. So they've got some issues here.